Welcome back, friends. We are in our last week and today we are going to do some reading and revision. Revision of what? Whatever we have been doing so far. I will make you read a few lengthy passages. I will ask you some questions, the competitive exam types of questions based on the reading. We will be revising reading comprehension, grammar, punctuation, vocabulary. We will also do a little bit of phrasal verbs that we had done a couple of classes back, and also I will introduce you to the concept of collocation. Okay. So, today and the next class would be all about this. We are going to read and revise. So, please look at the slide here, the first slide for you, that is reading, for you to read. I will read it out for you, and remember, this is the level of difficulty you may expect for your higher order or advanced order kinds of exams. So, do not get bewildered by whatever this is. This is exactly the kind of materials that you are going to encounter. So, please prepare yourself for this level of reading. So, I begin. King Menes founded, please note that when you find an empire or a capital or a city, the past tense is found. The king founded the empire, the king founded the city. But if you have lost something, then you find it and the past is found, not founded. Please remember, so please do not get confused. The city was not lost here, the capital was not lost here. He lay the foundation or started. So, sometimes we even say this company was founded by the great businessman J.R.D. Tata. Okay. So, that is the way we use the tense. He is the founding father of this capital of this company. Okay, so that is the way we use it. And I lost my pen, I found my pen. I did not founded my pen. Please remember the distinction. So, capital cities, companies, they are, or empires, they are founded. Founded the capital of ancient Egypt at White Walls, later known as Memphis. Now, this is an additional information, therefore, in brackets or parentheses. In the north, near the apex of the Nile river delta, the capital would grow into a great metropolis that dominated Egyptian society during the Old Kingdom period. Look at the capitalization. The Archaic period, look at the capitalization, saw the development of the foundations of Egyptian society, including the all important ideology of kingship. To the ancient Egyptians, the king was a godlike being closely identified with the all powerful god Horus. Look at the hyphens. The earliest known hieroglyphic writing also dates to this period. In the Archaic period, as in all other periods, most ancient Egyptians were farmers living in small villages and agriculture, largely wheat and barley. Look at the additional information in parentheses. Even if you remove it, it will not make much of a difference. Form the economic base of the Egyptian state. The annual flooding of the great Nile river provided the necessary irrigation and fertilization each year. Farmers sowed the wheat after the flooding receded and harvested it before the season of high temperatures and drought returned. Next slide, please look at it. The Old Kingdom, please notice the capitalization, began with the third dynasty of pharaohs. Around 2630 BC, the third dynasty's king Djoser asked Imhotep, an architect, priest and healer. Now, please pay attention to this. Imhotep, an architect, priest and healer. Imhotep, that means, was all these three things. He was an architect, priest and healer. So, you do not say an architect, a priest and a healer. If you talk like that or if you write like that, it means you are talking about three different people. But here you are talking about Imhotep, who was an architect as well as priest as well as healer. Therefore, no articles like a in front of, or indefinite article like a before priest and healer. Please remember these rules. To design a funerary monument for him. The result was the world's first major stone building, the Step Pyramid at Saqqara near Memphis. Pyramid building reached its zenith with the construction of the Great Pyramid at Giza on the outskirts of Cairo, built for Khufu or Cheops in Greek, who ruled from 2589 to 2566 BC. The pyramid was later named by classical historians as one of the ancient world's 7 wonders, and look at the capitalization of 7 wonders. Next slide please. During the 3rd and 4th dynasties, so remember we were talking about 2650, so that means that was the second or the 3rd BC. Now, we are talking about the dynasties. Egypt enjoyed a golden age of peace and prosperity. The pharaohs held absolute power and provided a stable central government. The kingdom faced no serious threats from abroad, and successful military campaigns in foreign countries like Nubia and Libya added to its considerable economic prosperity. Over the course of the 5th and 6th dynasties, the king's wealth was steadily depleted, partially due to the huge expense of pyramid building, and his absolute power faltered in the face of the growing influence of the nobility and the priesthood that grew up around the sun god Ra, or also known as Re, that Re. So, there is additional information. After the death of the 6th dynasty's king Pepi II, who ruled for some 94 years, the old kingdom period ended in chaos. Now, look at the questions here. Please look at the questions, go through them. What is the ideology that para 1 talks about? The term archaic period and the old kingdom should or should not be in capital letters, because you give reason and rewrite the following sentence without the semicolon. Now, let us do the first one. What is the ideology that para 1 talks about? I will take you to the first slide. Look at the ideology. The all important ideology of kingship, that was the ideology that the king was a godlike being closely identified with the all powerful god Horus. Therefore, the king was considered almighty. He represents God. Okay, he is or he represents gods. Okay, because the Egyptians had more than one god. So, it is not the god, but gods. So, the king represented the gods, and this is the ideology. What is ideology? It is a shared belief by or principles by a set of people. So, this is an ideology. So, that is the king had absolute power because the people invested in him in absolute power, that is that he is almost godlike to them. And then the next question here, archaic period. Now, should it be or should it not be? Old kingdom, should it be, should it not be? Yes, because they represent a particular era, a particular period. So, the other day I gave the example of Neolithic, Paleolithic period. So, that is in capital letters. We are marking them off as specialized period in history. And then rewrite the following sentence without the semicolon. If you replace colon here with a coordinator, which coordinator would you like to use? So, please make up your mind, perhaps and would do here. So, replace the semicolon with an and farmer sowed the wheat after the flooding receded and harvested it before the season of high temperatures and drought returned. So, please keep revising. Next set of questions, please look at it. Explain the term a funerary monuments. Now, this word comes, it is an adjective, it comes from the noun funeral. So, a monument which is commemorating someone's death. So, therefore, a funeral. So, funerary monument, it is an adjective, a monument commemorating funeral. And the peak of pyramid building was with the Great Pyramid at Giza, white walls, pharaohs, Khufu. The answer is the Great Pyramid at Giza. Look at the next question, complete the following. During the 5th, 6th century BC, the king's wealth, what happened to the king's wealth? I will take you to the slide. The king's wealth was steadily depleted, partially due to the huge expense of pyramid building, and his absolute power faltered in the face of the growing influence of the nobility and the priesthood that grew up around the sun god Ra. So, that is the, so what happened? The kings, the ideology that was prevalent in the earlier centuries, it faltered. Now, king was no longer next to God or almost godlike. And the last question, explain the term golden age. Why was it golden age? Because it had, that period had peace and prosperity, during the 3rd and 4th dynasties, and the pharaohs held absolute power and provided a stable government. The kingdom faced no serious threats from abroad, and successful military campaigns in foreign countries like Nubia and Libya added to its considerable economic prosperity. Of course, in your competitive exams, so much of lengthy sentences, so many lengthy sentences would not be asked, but 1 or 2 items could be there. So, instead of, so they may give you some complete the sentences and kind of questions and all. So, please be sure that how you respond. It was peace and prosperity, there was peace and prosperity, and the central government was stable, military campaigns were highly successful. Okay, so, that is the answer. Now, let us look at the second reading comprehension passage. Please look at the slide here. The methods of embalming or treating the dead body that the ancient Egyptians used is called mummification. Using special processes, the Egyptians removed all moisture from the body, leaving only a dried form that would not easily decay. It was important in their religion to preserve the dead body in as lifelike manner as possible, So, successful were they that today we can view the mummified body of an Egyptian and have a good idea of what he or she looked like in life 3000 years ago. Next slide, please look at it. The mummification process took 70 days. Special priests worked as embalmers, treating and wrapping the body. Beyond knowing the correct rituals and prayers to be performed at various stages, the priests also needed a detailed knowledge of human anatomy. The first step in the process was the removal of all internal parts that might decay rapidly. The brain was removed by carefully inserting special hooked instruments up through the nostrils in order to pull out the bits of brain tissue. It was a delicate operation, one which could easily disfigure the face. The embalmers then removed the organs of the abdomen and chest through a cut usually made on the left side of the abdomen. They left only the heart in place, believing it to be the center of a person's being and intelligence. The other organs were preserved separately, with the stomach, liver, lungs and intestines placed in special boxes or jars, today called canopic jars. These were buried with the mummy. In later mummies, the organs were treated, wrapped and replaced within the body. Even so, unused canopic jars continued to be part of the burial ritual. Now, let us look at the questions. What do you understand by the term lifelike manner? The word embalming is a verb made from em plus balm. So, I want you to make more similar verbs with the following words: bitter, bark, blazon. Now, what do you understand by the term lifelike manner? So, the entire idea of mummifying dead bodies was that even in death they look real. The dead bodies should look real and almost like, see, before this is before the invention of photography. So, they wanted history to remember what this emperor or empress looked like. So, as lifelike as possible, that is what it meant. It was not like, it did not mean that keep them alive, it meant that resemblance should be the way they were in their lifetime. And the grammatical question here, embalming is a verb made from em plus balm. So, you make a verb, a word into verb by using em as a prefix. So, embitter, embark, emblazon. I am just giving you a few examples here. So, this is how you make, turn certain words, so they could be noun or adjectives, into verbs. Next question. Please look at the slide. The word mummification is a noun. Likewise, make nouns from the following words: gentry, beauty, simple. So, your answer should be gentrification, beatification, simplification. Look up the meanings of these words if you are not too sure, and then identify at least 5 coordinators and words suggesting transition from this paragraph, from this. So, at least 5 transition words. It is a very well written passage, very complicated and complex, full of complex sentences, and see how the internal progress between the sentences. Words like beyond, the first step, and then in later mummies. Okay, so this is, and even so. So, these are the words suggesting transition and progress. We move on and let us look at this particular slide. Write the correct form of the words given in the brackets. Look at the slide here, passage here. The Tower of London is an dash famous monument and one of England's most dash structures. So, you have to use the correct form of the words given in the bracket. So, international icon. William the Conqueror built the White Tower in 1066 as a dash demonstrate of Norman powers, citing a dash strategic on the river Thames to act as both fortress and gateway to the capital. It is the most complex example of an 11th century fortress palace remaining in Europe. A rare dash survive of a continuously developing ensemble of royal buildings from the 11th to 16th centuries. The Tower of London has become one of the symbols of royalty. It also fostered the development of several of England's major state institutions, incorporating such fundamental roles as the nation's defense, its record keeping and its coin, its dash coin. It has been the setting for key historical events in European history, including the execution of 3 English queens. So, take a moment and see what words would you like to use in the blanks using the words given in the parentheses. And here is your answer. The Tower of London is an internationally famous monument and one of England's most iconic structures. William the Conqueror built the White Tower in 1066 as a demonstration of Norman power, citing it strategically on the river Thames to act as both fortress and gateway to the capital. It is the most complex example of an 11th century fortress palace remaining in Europe, a rare survival of a continuously developing ensemble of royal buildings. From the 11th to 16th centuries, the Tower of London has become one of the symbols of royalty. It also fostered the development of several of England's major state institutions, incorporating such fundamental roles as the nation's defense, its record keeping and its coinage. It has been the setting for key historical events in European history, including the execution of 3 English queens. Let us look at the next slide here. Next exercise for you. A smaller town, Chernobyl. So, this passage is about the famous Chernobyl disaster in the USSR. So, a smaller town, Chernobyl, was home to about 12,000 residents. The remainder, and I have highlighted the word because the remainder is related to the remainder, the rest of the region. This is not the way you spell reminder. Reminder does not have an A. So, when you want to remind someone, it is R-E-M-I-N-D-E-R. Remainder is R-E-M-A-I-N-D-E-R, that is remaining of the region was primarily farms and woodland. The Chernobyl plant used 4 Soviet designed RBMK-1000 nuclear reactors, a design that is now universally recognized as inherently flawed. RBMK reactors use enriched U-235 uranium fuel to heat water, creating steam that drives the reactors turbines and generates electricity. Now, I want you to pay attention to certain words here and expressions. Look at the slide. Nuclear reactors. Now, this is what I meant by collocation. I am going to explain in a moment, but look at inherently flawed collocation, and then generates electricity. This is also example of collocation. Now, look at this slide also, and then I will explain the definition of collocation. Now, commemorations are underway in Ukraine to mark the 30th anniversary. So, this is also an example of collocation of the nuclear disaster at Chernobyl. Sirens are sounded at the same moment as the first explosion at the reactor in the early hours of 26 April 1986. The meltdown at the Soviet plant was the worst nuclear disaster in history. An uncontrolled reaction blew the roof off, spewing out a cloud of radioactive material which drifted into. Now, these are examples of phrasal verbs. We have done all these. So, verbs plus prepositions. So, blew off, spewing out, drifted into. So, all these are phrasal verbs. Other parts of the USSR including Russia and Belarus and Northern Europe, relatives of those who died attended candle-lit vigils. So, this is another example of collocation at several churches, including at Slavich, a town built to rehouse workers who live near the nuclear plant. A series of events are being held throughout the day. Now, what are collocations? Collocations is juxtaposition or placing together of a particular word with another set of word or words. Why do we do that? We can only place certain words with other words and we cannot randomly place words next to each other. Remember, a collocation is 2 or more words that often go together. There are several different types of collocations made from combination of verb, noun, adjective. So, let me take you back to this slide. Look at the slide again. When we say candle-lit vigils, these are appropriately juxtaposed, that is placed next to each other. That is how we use. when we say nuclear plant, right? These are also frequently used words or used together words. Or to mark the anniversary. So, when it is an anniversary of a disaster where thousands of people died, you cannot say celebrate the anniversary, you have to mark the anniversary, right. So, that is how you collocate, using the appropriate word to go with the next appropriate word. Look at the examples here, look at the slide here. I am giving you some frequently occurring collocations: wasted opportunity, career advice, raising hell, place an order, cancel the subscription, catch a thief. You do not say catch subscription, you do not say catch an order, right. You do not say raise evidence, you say supporting evidence. So, a word has to go with another word and there has to be some reasoning here. Now, match the collocations here, look at the words here and then I will show you the other slide also. So, look at biting, indelible, impractical, scintillating, astounding, spate, and match them with these words: conversation, memories, cold, lone, idea, attacks. I will show you again, match this list with the next one. So, biting, indelible, impractical, scintillating, astounding, spate, and match these with conversation, memories, cold, lone, idea, attacks. This is your homework. And these are some of the references. So, thank you very much.